Everyone's sipping bone broth thinking they've found the fountain of youth for their muscles. $20 for a jar of liquid that's mostly water, a few grams of protein, and a whole lot of marketing hype. But what if I told you there's a food that costs less than $2, provides 10 times more muscle building power, and actually reverses sarcopenia instead of just slowing it down? In fact, I'm going to reveal 7 foods today that make bone broth look like expensive water. These aren't trendy superfoods or exotic supplements. They're foods that have been building human muscle for thousands of years, and modern science is finally catching up to explain why they work so incredibly well, especially for people over 50 fighting muscle loss. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Bone broth has become the emperor's new clothes of the nutrition world. Yes, it contains some protein and collagen, but the amount you'd need to drink to actually impact muscle mass would leave you bloated, broke, and still losing muscle. Meanwhile, the foods I'm about to share can literally begin reversing sarcopenia within days, not months. Welcome to Golden Wisdom, where we separate marketing myths from scientific reality and bring you the powerful truths your body deserves to know. Today's episode might ruffle some feathers, especially if you've been spending a fortune on bone broth. But here on Golden Wisdom, you deserve the truth about what really builds and maintains muscle after 50. Let's dissect the bone broth phenomenon together. Honestly, a typical cup of bone broth contains about 6 to 10 grams of protein. That's it. To put that in perspective, you'd need to drink 3 to 4 cups just to get the minimum protein required for one muscle-building meal. And that protein? It's mostly collagen and gelatin. Both are incomplete proteins, lacking the essential amino acids your muscles actually need to grow. The collagen in bone broth has been marketed as a miracle for everything from skin to joints to muscles. But here's what they don't tell you. When you consume collagen, your digestive system breaks it down into individual amino acids, just like any other protein. Your body doesn't absorb it as intact collagen that magically rebuilds your muscles. It becomes the same basic amino acids you could get from much cheaper, more effective sources. And the minerals in bone broth? Sure, there's some calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, but the amounts are laughably small compared to what your muscles actually need. One study analyzed popular bone broths and found they contained less calcium than a glass of milk, less magnesium than a handful of almonds, and less potassium than a small banana. You're essentially paying premium prices for mineral water. Here at Golden Wisdom, we don't fall for clever marketing. We follow evidence. But here's the biggest problem with the bone broth craze for fighting sarcopenia. It's a passive approach to an active problem. Sarcopenia requires aggressive nutritional intervention with specific nutrients and therapeutic amounts. Sipping warm broth might feel nurturing, but it's not delivering the concentrated nutrition your muscles desperately need to stop wasting away. The opportunity cost is enormous. While you're spending $20 on a jar of bone broth that provides minimal nutrition, you could be buying foods that contain leucine triggers for muscle synthesis, complete proteins with all essential amino acids, anti-inflammatory compounds that stop muscle breakdown, and bioactive peptides that actually stimulate muscle growth. And this is exactly what Golden Wisdom stands for: cutting through the noise and helping you make smart, powerful choices that actually work. Now let me introduce you to the first muscle-building champion that puts bone broth to shame: chicken hearts. I know what you're thinking. Organ meat? Really? But stay with me, because this overlooked superfood is about to change everything you thought you knew about fighting sarcopenia. Chicken hearts contain 30 grams of complete protein per 4-ounce serving. That's not just any protein, it's the highest quality protein your body can use, with a biological value that surpasses even eggs. Every single essential amino acid is present in optimal ratios for human muscle synthesis. Compare that to bone broth's measly 6 grams of incomplete protein, and you start to see why this comparison isn't even fair. But protein is just the beginning of what makes chicken hearts extraordinary for combating sarcopenia. They're incredibly rich in CoQ10, containing more per serving than any other food source. CoQ10 is essential for mitochondrial function, the energy production in your muscle cells. As we age, CoQ10 levels plummet, leading to muscle weakness and fatigue. One serving of chicken hearts provides more CoQ10 than most expensive supplements. The iron content is remarkable, about 5 milligrams per serving in the highly absorbable heme form. Iron deficiency is epidemic in older adults and directly contributes to muscle weakness and poor recovery. The iron in chicken hearts doesn't cause the constipation associated with supplements, and it's absorbed at rates up to 3 times higher than plant sources. Here's something that will blow your mind. Chicken hearts are one of the richest sources of taurine, an amino acid that's crucial for muscle function, but often overlooked. Taurine improves muscle contractility, reduces muscle damage, and enhances endurance. When you combine this with the complete protein and CoQ10, you're looking at a natural muscle-building powerhouse that's been hiding in plain sight. At Golden Wisdom, we love uncovering these forgotten treasures that modern science is finally validating. Instead of pouring your money into trendy broths, imagine fueling your muscles with real, potent nutrients that trigger growth, repair, and vitality from the inside out. Now that we've pulled back the curtain on the bone broth myth and uncovered the muscle-building power of chicken hearts, it's time to go deeper. Because the truth is, chicken hearts are only the first warrior in a whole lineup of foods that can help reverse sarcopenia fast. And here at Golden Wisdom, we don't just talk about vague theories. We focus on practical, science-backed nutrition that older adults can actually use to stay strong, vibrant, and independent for years to come. Think about it. Muscle loss after 50 isn't inevitable. What's inevitable is aging, yes, but how you age is heavily influenced by your daily choices. Sarcopenia creeps in quietly, stealing strength, stability, and confidence step by step. But with the right foods, the right nutrients, and the right mindset, you can fight back, not just to slow the decline, but to actually reverse it. That's the empowering message we share at Golden Wisdom every single day. Let's take a closer look at why these forgotten, affordable, and nutrient-dense foods are so effective compared to expensive bone broth. Bone broth is basically a warm drink with a comforting story attached to it. But when you analyze the nutritional content, it's weak. In contrast, traditional muscle-building foods are concentrated sources of amino acids, minerals, and bioactive compounds that your body can immediately use to repair and grow muscle tissue. For example, the leucine content in real muscle-building foods is a game changer. Leucine is the amino acid that flips the switch for muscle protein synthesis, the actual process of building new muscle. Experts often call it the trigger nutrient. Without enough leucine, your body simply doesn't turn on that muscle-building machinery. Bone broth contains only trace amounts of leucine, but foods like organ meats, eggs, dairy, and certain legumes pack leucine in therapeutic amounts that older adults need to overcome anabolic resistance, the natural decline in muscle-building response that comes with age. Here's another key point we emphasize at Golden Wisdom. Sarcopenia isn't just a protein problem. It's a cellular energy problem, a micronutrient problem, and an inflammation problem. As you age, your muscle cells become less efficient at producing energy, your nutrient absorption declines, and chronic low-grade inflammation slowly breaks down muscle tissue. This is why chicken hearts are such a powerful ally. Their high CoQ10 content supports mitochondrial energy production, taurine enhances muscle function, and iron improves oxygen transport. All critical factors for maintaining strong, active muscles in your 50s, 60s, and beyond. And they do this at a fraction of the cost of trendy supplements and broths. Imagine replacing just a few cups of expensive bone broth with a couple of servings of chicken hearts each week. You'd be delivering dense, targeted nutrition straight to your muscles instead of sipping warm, overpriced liquid that barely moves the needle. This is exactly the kind of practical wisdom we love to share on Golden Wisdom. Real solutions that work in the real world. But let's not stop at chicken hearts. They're just the first of the 7 foods that outperform bone broth. Over centuries, different cultures have used a variety of humble foods to stay strong well into old age. Modern marketing made us forget them, but science is bringing them back to the spotlight. These foods contain complete amino acid profiles, anti-inflammatory compounds, minerals in bioavailable forms, and unique peptides that actively stimulate muscle repair. And here's the beautiful part. They're not expensive. Many of them cost less than a single jar of bone broth, yet their effects are dramatically superior. That's why we at Golden Wisdom say that real health doesn't come from hype. It comes from understanding how the human body truly works and respecting the traditional wisdom that sustained generations before us. Now, let's revisit one of the most overlooked facts about bone broth that marketing conveniently hides. Yes, it contains collagen, but collagen is not some magical glue that travels through your bloodstream and patches up your muscles and joints. Your digestive system breaks collagen down into basic amino acids, the same building blocks you could get from a cheaper source. Your body then decides how to use those amino acids. And building muscle isn't at the top of the priority list if you're not supplying the right type and amount of amino acids, plus the necessary cofactors. In other words, collagen isn't the limiting factor for muscle growth in older adults. Leucine and complete protein are. Without those, you're just drinking a warm, salty beverage that may comfort your soul, but won't rebuild your body. And this is why so many people over 50 think they're doing everything right, but still feel weaker each year. They've been following marketing trends, not biological truths. At Golden Wisdom, we're here to change that narrative. We want you to see that reversing muscle loss isn't about spending more money. It's about spending your money wisely. It's about recognizing which foods truly nourish your muscles, cells, and energy systems. Picture this. You're in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s. Instead of accepting weakness, you're walking with strength, climbing stairs with ease, and carrying groceries without a second thought. That's not a fantasy. That's the result of fueling your body intelligently, consistently, and courageously. And it all starts with ditching the myths and embracing the golden wisdom of real nutrition.